you must go through to come out. The question before us this morning is the question that has been asked for ages. And those of us who are believers know the answer. So it is a rhetorical question used to elicit a thinking response. For when you look back over your life, when the question is raised, you have a personal answer. And the question is, can God deliver us? Can God deliver us? Another king now appears on the scene. As we know from Daniel chapter 3 that the Babylonian kingdom was under Belshazzar, and this hand came writing on the wall to tell King Belshazzar that your kingdom is divided and you've been found wanting, and the Medes and the Persians have now taken over the Babylonian kingdom. And there is a new king named Darius. And Darius has found that this young man, Daniel, who was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego under the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar through Belshazzar, now Daniel is an old man and he's in Darius's kingdom. And Daniel is a man of some administrative ability. And the king has the wisdom to appoint Daniel over some governors, 3 governors and 120 satraps, or commissioners, if you please. These people rule the kingdom in their particular area of authority and responsibility, but Daniel is over all of them. And because Daniel is a foreigner, Daniel is not one of them by birth, they have been envious of him ever since he was brought to Babylon. They are envious of his intelligence. They are envious of his business acumen. They are envious of his rectitude. They are envious of his prayer life. They are envious because Daniel does not go to the right or to the left. He rules without fear or favor. He is not under anybody's control. He belongs to God, and it does not matter who's on the throne of Babylon. Daniel is convinced that God is on the throne in heaven. And so when you are a man or woman of integrity, people will find a way to strike at you in the area where you're strongest. You've got to watch the devil. Those of us who preach the gospel, we've got to be extremely careful to watch the devil, because Satan will urge you to preach a gospel that is reasonable but not powerful. A gospel that's exciting but it has no authority. A gospel that turns people upside down but cannot turn them right side up. The bane of gospel preaching today is social media. The curse and the blessing of gospel preaching today is social media, because many preachers preach for likes and popularity. and how many hits they get on Facebook or YouTube because they want to be popular, they want to be liked, they want to be applauded. I would far rather be powerful than popular, because popularity comes and goes. Let me see if I can make this make sense. There's a preaching that will make you clap, and then there's a preaching that'll make you cry. There's preaching that is appealing and it's exciting, and you jump up and down and you high five 3 people and you run around the building 2 times and shake your neighbor's hand. I need 49 people, I'll make 50. And all of that sounds good until you get in trouble. Until life turns on you. Until you get old and you need something fatter than that. You need something thicker than that. You need something weightier than that. Because that kind of preaching is like eating Chinese food. You eat Chinese food and an hour later you're hungry again. You listen to that kind of preaching and you go home and say, now what did he say? You can't remember the subject, you can't remember a point, you can't remember anything. It sounded good. You jumped up and down, and listen, everybody enjoys cotton candy from time to time, but you need something that will hold you when life gets hard and when the days get dark. And when you are a man or a woman of integrity, Satan will attack you in your area of strength. They couldn't attack Daniel with women. They couldn't attack Daniel with alcohol. They couldn't attack Daniel with a wild, riotous lifestyle. But they noticed something that he did 3 times a day. Every day, 3 times a day, he prayed. And they decided that the best way to trap Daniel is to trap him by his God. Can they trap you by your God? Can they trap me by my integrity when it comes to God? Because anybody can be faithful at noonday. What happens at midnight? Anybody can trust God when the heat is turned down. But what about when the furnace is heated 7 times hotter than normal? Anybody can give God glory when the sun is shining, but when the storm comes on your Sea of Galilee, how much trust do you have in God? They say the only way we can get this Daniel out of our hair is to trap him with his prayer life. Because they noticed that Daniel went to his room and raised his window towards Jerusalem and publicly, loudly called on his God. Daniel shows us something about prayer in this text. He shows us, first of all, that prayer has a specific place. He went to his room. That's where he prayed. Now, your place to pray might be in your room, in your bedroom. It might be in your kitchen. It might be in your den. It might be in the car. It might be in your desk at the office. But always have somewhere you can go where there's no noise, where there's no distraction, where there's nobody bothering you, where there's no traffic, where there's no mess, where there's no stuff going on. You need a quiet place, because there are some things that's just between you and God. Now, your public prayer is one thing, but your private prayer is between you and God. There are some things I ain't got no business praying about publicly because it ain't none of your business. See how quiet you got right there? Some of y'all so spiritual that you put all your business on Facebook and you talk about everything that's going on in your life. I ain't telling you everything that's going on in my life. You know most of the stuff that I'm crazy about, but there ain't some stuff is between me and God. Because I have a place that I go, that I get on my knees and humble myself before God. Because standing up and praying is okay, driving and praying is okay, lying down praying is fine, sitting down praying is all right, but my prayers, I've got to get on my knees. Not only do I have a place for prayer, but I have a posture for prayer. Getting on your knees is humiliating. Falling down on your knees, prostrating yourself on your knees is saying to God, I know what level I'm on. I know how weak I am. I know how sinful I am. And I know in whose presence I'm in. I'm in the presence of the living God. And when I come in his presence, not only is my body low, but my spirit is low. My intelligence is low. My self-esteem is low. God, break me to bless me. God, pull me down to raise me up. God, whatever you've got to do to make me like Jesus, I humble myself in your presence. All to Jesus, I surrender. All to him, I freely give. My place is upstairs in my study. I pray in that place so often that the grooves in the carpet are in the shape of my knees, because that's my place to go and humble myself. I pray for 10 members of this church every day. I pray, Lord, don't let my foolishness keep these people from hearing the gospel. I pray, Lord, keep me on my knees. God, make me recognize that 96% of the stuff that goes on in this church is by your power. It has nothing to do with my preaching. It has nothing to do with my personality. It has nothing to do with my presence. God, use me as a vessel for your glory. I am thine, O Lord. I've heard your voice and it's told your love to me, and I long to rise in the arms of faith and be closer drawn to thee. That's my place. That's my posture. But then Daniel prays with such repetition. He prays 3 times a day regularly. He is regular in his prayer. And they notice that no matter what meeting is going on, Daniel go into his room. No matter what is on the table for lunch, Daniel goes to his room. No matter who's talking in the meeting, Daniel says, excuse me, it's time for me to pray. No matter what's on the agenda, Daniel said, you got to put it on hold right now, because I've got to go and pray. And my elder said, if you pray and pray right, God hears and answers prayers, and God knows when your enemies are plotting against you. God knows when your enemies are setting a trap for you. And so they set the trap, and the trap is, let's go to the king and have him to sign a decree that for 30 days nobody prays to any god but King Darius. And of course the king likes that. That sounds good, because who wouldn't want to be prayed to? Who would not want to be worshiped? So the king signs this decree, and because of the law of the Medes and the Persians, that any decree that has been signed and sealed with the king's signature cannot be undone, cannot be broken. And so there is this loyalty to God or loyalty to Trump. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean Darius. Loyalty to God or loyalty to the United States? God's law or the law of the president? Can you imagine how blasphemous it is that the president of the United States has this image of himself as Jesus? That's beyond heresy. That's beyond hubris. That's beyond narcissism. That's blasphemy. And the church needs to say something about that. Because no president woke me up this morning. No president gave me my health and strength. No president put food on my table. No president saved me when I was on my way to hell. Now, if you're scared to talk, just sit down there. You're not in no trouble. You're going to have your job in the morning. The freest person in this church is me. Because what can they do to me? Nobody's taking care of me but Lily Grove Missionary Baptist Church. And God is the chief shepherd, and I am his under shepherd. And as God's under shepherd, I am called upon to speak truth to power. Trump, you are not God. You are a man, a weak man at that. Thou shalt have no other God before me. And then to make matters worse, he and the vice president get in a fight with the Pope. Do you know how smart you got to be the Pope? The vicar of Christ, the bishop of Rome, the priest of the Holy See. And this Pope is an Augustinian scholar, a theologian of the highest order. And J.D. Vance talking about he got to be careful when he talk about, are you, I almost said a bad word. Are you on that stuff? Are you crazy? The Pope ain't got to be careful about theology. He is a theologian. And to the Catholic Church, whatever the Pope says is scripture. He speaks ex cathedra as if God is speaking himself. He wears the shoes of the fishermen. He is in the direct line of succession, they believe, of Peter himself. And they're telling the Pope, be careful. So our decision today is, should I obey God or the laws of this country? That ain't no decision for me to make. Wait a minute. I've already made my decision. I'm like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. King, we are not careful to answer you in this matter. Because the God we serve, I wish I had a Bible reader, is able, and he will deliver us out of your hands. But if not, I'm going to church Sunday. If not, I'm going to wave my hands in the sanctuary. If not, I'm going to give him glory no matter what the present. For God I live. It's in him we live, we move, and have our being.
Yes, sir. Amen.
And so they set the trap.
Yes, sir.
And the trap is about to be sprung because the king has signed it and it cannot be violated. It cannot be unbroken. And so they sign this decree, the king signs this decree, and then they see Daniel doing what Daniel does. Daniel got the email. Daniel was well aware of what they had done. Because listen, God will always show you what your enemies are up to. I wish I had a witness here. God will never leave you in the dark when people are plotting against you because they can't hide it. It's on their face. They're acting funny. They're talking different. They don't shake your hand like they used to shake your hand. They don't want to go to lunch no more. They ain't got much to say. You speak, they just say hi. Used to be all over you, just talking and hugging and holding hands. Now they got something to do. They're on their way out the door. Looking at you, my mama say, with the side eye. That's the way your enemies do when they're plotting against you. But God will always keep you in the loop. God will not let them slip up on you and surprise you. Daniel knew what they were doing, but Daniel knew who his God was. And so Daniel, listen, didn't raise the window a crack. Listen to me, because you can't get nothing but dust in a crack. He raised it all the way up to the top and said, look at what I'm doing. I'm calling on the name of my God. And they went to the king and said, this Daniel that you put over us, this Daniel that you got so much confidence in, this Daniel that you think is all that, is praying to his God. And of course now the king is on the horns of a dilemma. The king is in a conundrum because he respects Daniel. He admires Daniel. He loves Daniel, but he can't go back on his word. So he has Daniel thrown in a den of hungry lions. These are not little house pets or tomcats that are around here in the neighborhood. These are huge, giant, hungry lions. And Daniel is thrown in a den of hungry lions. But watch how God works. While Daniel is in the lion's den, he's sleeping. The king who threw him in is awake. You missed your shout. Daniel is in the den sleeping. The king is up all night walking. All night, all day, every minute, every second, every hour, every day, every week, every month, through the years, come what may, fiery furnace, lion's den, Philippian jail, Calvary's cross, hospitals, hospice, sickness, death, enemies, friends, whatever you're going through, if you trust God while you sleeping, they walk in the flow. Daniel is in a lion's den. And God arranges not for the lions to lose their appetite, because lions eat people. I mean, this is lunch. This is a gourmet feast. They did not lose their appetites. God kept their mouth closed. So that with mouths of hungry lions closed, Daniel used their backs for a pillow. Cushion. He said, yeah. Come closer, let me get. He got himself comfortable in those lions, and the king was walking all night. And the king couldn't wait till the next morning, because the scripture says he went to the den with lamentable voice. He went to the den knowing that he would not hear Daniel's voice again. So with great lament, that means sorrow, the king tore his clothes off in great sorrow, saying, "Oh, Daniel, has your God been able to deliver?" And he puts his ear to the den, and he's about to walk back to his room when Daniel says, "King, live forever. The God I serve kept me all night. I couldn't fight, but the Lord fixed it that the lions wouldn't bite. And I got up this morning to tell you, O king, that my God has been able to deliver me." And somebody here got that testimony. I've been in some lions' dens. I've been in some tight spots in my life. I've been in between a rock and a hard place, but God delivered me. If you know you've been delivered, I said, if you know you've been delivered and you're not embarrassed to testify, if you know it was God and God alone who got you out of your situation, you can help me testify. He's a way maker. He's a burden bearer. He's a heart fixer. He's a mind regulator. When I can't sleep at night, he gives me peace that surpasses all understanding. Be anxious for nothing, but through prayer and supplication, make your requests known unto God. And the peace of God, I wish I had 1 or 2 more believers, that surpasses all understanding. Folk can't understand why you shouting and you ain't got a job. Why are you praising God and you are sick in your body? Why are you giving God glory and your son is in prison? Why are you thanking God when things are going awry in your life? Because I know God can fix it. If he did it before, he can do it again. But look at how God handled Daniel's enemy. The king said, y'all made me sign this decree, huh? Okay. This was y'all idea? Every last one of you go on in the den that you set for Daniel. When you dig a ditch for somebody, dig another one, because God will see to it that you fall in the first one. Fret not yourself because of evildoers, neither be envious against the workers of iniquity. They shall soon be cut off like grass and wither like the green herb. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and they fell. Though a host should encamp against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, and that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of God all my days, for in the time of trouble he shall